Paul Murray, Laura Jays are on the New South Wales-Queensland border at Tweed Heads for us this evening. They join us live, Paul and Laura. There's a perception from some in Labor that Brisbane in particular could reward the Premier over the pandemic response. What's your sense of things? Are we seeing an election in really two parts tonight?
Well, Kieran, that's exactly my mail, and for good reason. You mentioned Aspley and Mansfield there. From within Labor at the moment, as polls close right now here, almost in Queensland, we're just on the border as you mentioned, they believe that the red wall will hold. But if there's any chance for the LNP, we're looking at seats like Aspley and Mansfield. There are concerns everywhere else, but it then looks further north. One thing is clear tonight, I think, if we have a result tonight, that will be good for Labor. When it goes into counting over the next couple of days, that means the pre-polls, the preference and how they flow, that will be good for the LNP. So, Paul, if we have a result tonight, not good news for Deb Frecklington.
No, not at all. But look, the truth is that, as is obvious about Queensland, and firstly, how good is Queensland? Secondly, no more ads, no more spin, the polls are closed. It's now just about a straight-out result.
That's
and look,
right.
The conventional wisdom, of course, is that Labor is in the driver's seat. The only way that the LNP form government is by some changes in regional Queensland. Now, if that's going to happen in the next hour on TV, start to look at how those minor party votes are playing, particularly around places like Townsville, Cairns, some roughies maybe way up north, but obviously given the tyranny of distance, it'll be a little longer for some of those places to get the numbers back. And so put simply, if the polls are right, you're going to see single-digit turnout for minor parties. Yep. If elections last time in 2019, if at the local government elections or even back to the 2017 election, is a pattern that in the same way I think that minor party votes in regional Queensland are as reliable as a Greens vote is in Queensland. It's not going to disappear anytime soon. Once it's double digits, it starts to matter. Once it's up towards 20%, then it'll determine the outcome.
Well, Currumbin, I mentioned before, Paul, this is one that the LNP is keeping a really close eye on as well. Look, it's a real concern there. Anna Palmer is running for the Palmer Party. She's the Vice President of the Palmer Party. And look, Clive Palmer's been really loud. There's billboards all over the shop, radio ads everywhere. But what I'm getting from within the LNP is that Clive Palmer has made the mistake of thinking that he is actually popular, because some of the billboards say Clive says open the borders, Clive says X, Y and Z. What he has done is just really made the message pretty messy, and that is not good for the LNP. He's loud, he's noisy, but has it worked for him? There's also an issue in the seat of Currumbin. Yes, it's a border town, and the border issue, yes, it's red hot, but it's again a tale of two cities, and I don't think the LNP has ridden the wave of what people think about the border closures. Early on, people were in two minds. It was kind of a north-south thing. Open the borders, don't open the borders.
And they did remember. I remember because I crossed them.
Sure, but Victoria, when Victoria happened, the wisdom is, and the thinking is within both parties, that they were like, build a wall. Queenslanders did not want to see anything in. But there's a question here, Paul. The LNP are meant to be the party of the small business. That is meant to be their base. So, and up north, I've got to say, a lot of these small businesses feel a little bit betrayed by the LNP because they've been so equivocal on the borders.
Hence why you get the issues about One Nation, CATA, all the rest of it. Look, I think this comes down to two bumper stickers. Hold the line versus preference discipline. Preference discipline delivered the LNP government in 2019 because you didn't have bugger the system, you had bugger the government as the line. That was the line being run by One Nation and by Palmer in this campaign. If preference discipline holds up, it helps. Catters is, F the system, but we'll see what happens.
And
those are the two bumper stickers.
The death tax issue, Clive Palmer is running really hard on. That really hurt Labor during the federal campaign. Not so much this time around. When it comes to minority government, just remember, Anastasia Palaszczuk was campaigning in Mount Isa during this campaign. Now, Mount Isa, Robbie Katter holds that seat on two-party preferred vote. I think it's around 78%.
Might be hard to suck up to him after taking his staff off him. She
wasn't going for winning that seat, but certainly that's certainly an indication that she might have to do some deals.